If you want to get an hourglass figure by the end of 2025, copy this.
It's October right now. That means you've got about 12 weeks until the end of 2025.
And that's more than enough time to completely reshape your body if you do it the right way.
And the problem is, most women try to get there by slashing calories, piling on hours of cardio, and they end up burnt out and frustrated. But what actually changes the game is when you stop fighting your body. You stop following training programs that were designed for men, and instead start using the way your body is built to your advantage.
And guys, you should watch this video too because it could help your mom, your wife, or your sister like it did mine. My name is Dr. Michael Diamonds, and this is my beautiful wife, Anna, and co-founder of Sculpt by Science. I'm a medical doctor, a scientist with degrees in biochemistry and microbiology. I am also a professional natural bodybuilder. Over the last decade, we've helped hundreds of women cut through the noise and finally build the body that they've desired for years.
And in this video, we're going to show you 6 science-based blueprints that can help you reshape your body into that hourglass look. And let me be clear, this isn't just about looking good, though you absolutely will. This is about becoming the strongest, most confident version of yourself.
So where we start is understanding the female physiology. And before we dive into the 6 blueprints, let's clear a few things up. Most of the training and diet advice you see online was written with men in mind, including some of my older content, which is why we're making this video right now.
And the truth, your physiology is different. And if you don't account for it, you'll always feel like you're spinning your wheels. And here are the key differences that actually matter.
The first one is muscle tissue and fat balance. On average, women carry a higher body fat percentage than men. So usually 25 to 31% for women compared to the 18 to 24 for men. That extra fat tissue has a purpose. It supports hormone balance, it keeps the cycle regular, and it also protects their long-term health.
And the second is fat distribution. Because of estrogen, women tend to store more fat in the hips, thighs, and glutes. That's why trimming the waist while building up the glutes, quads, and shoulders creates such a powerful visual shift in proportions. And that's actually personally the case for me. I hold less than 20% body fat in my upper body, according to a DEXA scan, but I am over 30% in my lower body.
And women do build muscle, but it's more gradual. And this is like the big debate. Even half a pound of muscle in the right spot, like your glutes or in your shoulders, can completely change your shape. That's why targeted progressive training is everything.
And then we also have the cycle factor. Your menstrual cycle can affect things like energy, cravings, water retention, and even your strength. So let's talk about the cycle a bit more. We generally have 2 phases, right? Follicular phase, days 1 to 14. This is where estrogen rises, many women notice better recovery, and strength often peaks around ovulation. And then you have luteal phase, right? Which happens after that. It's day 15 to 28. And this is when progesterone rises, metabolism goes up slightly, cravings increase, and you may hold 2 to 5 pounds of water. And that is why understanding physiology is step 0 before 6 blueprints. Because once you know what's happening inside of your body, you stop second guessing yourself. So let's start with blueprint number 1. Your starting point. Because the truth is, most women fail before they even begin. And here's why.
The first thing you need to ask yourself is, are you overweight or are you underweight? Or are you somewhere in the middle? Because that single question changes everything about your plan. If you're overweight, your first step is to trim the fat. You already have that thickness, and now you just need to get a little bit more slim. And that means a caloric deficit and training that focuses on retaining the muscle tissue that you have while shedding some body fat. We'll talk about more of this in a little bit. If you're underweight, your job is to build. And that means a calorie surplus, a slight one, heavy lifting, progressive overload to add the curves in the right places. If you're somewhere in the middle, this is where recomposition comes in. You're losing fat and building muscle at the same time. It's slower, yes, but if you're consistent, the results are dramatic. And this is actually something we see with most of our clients. They're in this middle factor where they're building muscle and losing fat a lot of the times.
And here's why this matters so much. Starting in the wrong lane sets you up for failure. So, for example, if you try to bulk while carrying too much extra fat, your waist won't shrink and your shape will not pop. But if you try to cut when you're already too lean, you will lose the curves that you're trying to build. So take the time to establish your baseline right now. take progress photos, measure your waist and hips. If you can, even check your body fat percentage. And from here onwards, your plan is to build on data, not guesses. Take one of our clients, Sandra, as an example. 204 pounds, 5'7". She came to us doing endless cardio. She was in the wrong lane. But once we switched her focus to fat loss with the right approach, she dropped over 50 pounds, and that's all while training at home.
Now that we know your starting point, let's talk about nutrition, because this is where most women go wrong. So here's the foundation. Your body has a baseline burn, and that burn is called your basal metabolic rate, BMR. I'm sure you've heard of it. And then from that baseline, we add on your daily movement, your training, and we call this your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. This number is your foundation, right? From there, everything comes back to a simple principle of input versus output, calories in versus calories out. And there's something interesting that we have now seen at Sculpt by Science over the last 5 years is women come in and they eat more food than they ever have, and then they start losing weight. Any reason you think that happens?
I do think a lot of women come to us severely under eating. In short, your metabolism does slow down when you do that, right? It just gets used to the little food that you do eat. You're not losing weight anymore, eating very little. But when our ladies start eating more, for the first time, they start eating enough protein, they start eating enough carbohydrates, it gives them energy, they start lifting, like they actually mean it. For the first time, they build muscle tissue, and that really increases their BMR, right? And DD in general goes up as well. And even though they're eating more, all of a sudden they're losing weight and they're looking better and they're feeling better.
The idea is you can create a caloric deficit not only through just cutting calories. So if this is your output and this is your input, what most ladies try and do is they just decrease their calories, cut it more and more. They get to like 1,000 calories or less, and they'll see some results initially, right? Now they've created this delta here, they've created a deficit, but over time our bodies are intelligent machines and will adapt. And you're racing to the bottom and then you get stuck between a rock and a hard place. But what we do at Sculpt by Science is we say, hey, we can actually do it differently. What if we increase your input? And yes, that's scary. You're eating more food than you ever have. Now you're like, well, everyone says eat less, but I'm gonna get fat. No, what ends up happening is when you eat more food, your training improves. All of a sudden, you're like more energetic. You're like taking walks everywhere. You are getting steps in. You want to do cardio. Your body's burning more calories because your body also requires energy to digest all that extra food you're eating. And what ends up happening is psychologically, you feel good as well, right? You're happy. And we actually had a client, Carla. She was like, Dr. Mike, I have a few things to say. I couldn't finish all the food. It's the most I have, but I'm down a pound. I don't understand, but here it goes. And that's like the best thing to hear, because now as she does cut the calories over time, when we do need to slightly bring it down, she's in a happy position. So calories in versus calories out. Let's maybe, now that we understand calories, and I'm gonna give you guys an amazing tool in a little bit of where to go to finally figure out yours the way I would build it. Let's talk about macros.
Yeah. Let's talk about the macros, because this is where things really click, right? So the first one is protein. We recommend about 1 gram per pound of body weight per day. But here's also a little secret that we give to our clients who struggle with big appetites.
You shouldn't tell anyone, right?
I do think it will help them.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Let's not gatekeep.
Okay,
No gatekeeping.
Okay, no gatekeeping.
Okay. Bump your protein content up to about 1.3 grams per pound. Why? Because protein is the most satiating macro. It keeps you full, helps control cravings, stabilizes blood sugar so you don't get those crazy highs and crashes. Also literally is the building block for your muscles. So you cannot reshape your glutes, shoulders, or core without enough protein. And there's research showing protein improves insulin sensitivity, which also means that your body handles carbs better, is a big win, especially for women managing cravings or energy swings. Now, the second macro is fat. We like to start at minimum 50 grams a day, no matter what, because fats are the backbone of hormone production. Estrogen, progesterone, all the hormones that regulate your cycle, mood, and your metabolism. Drop too low, and not only do your hormones tank, but recovery and muscle growth takes a hit too. So healthy fats, Salmon, avocado, nuts are essential for that hourglass journey. And finally, carbs, right? Fill in the rest. Use them smartly, more on training days, less on rest days.
So Anna, a couple of months ago, showed me, interestingly, a lot of our clients come from our website. And we decided to build a very cool tool, the way I would build your macros. So now you guys can stop guessing and finally say, hey, this is how Dr. Mike would do it. So at Sculpt by Science, if you scroll down, macro precision calculator, you simply put in your details, 20% caloric deficit. There you have the option of choosing 1 gram to 1.25 grams of protein. You can choose. If you're a hungrier person, you have an appetite, then go for 1.25. And then fats, what's really cool about this tool we built for you is you can toggle the carbs to fat ratio. And then you have your macro distribution. You'll see your total calories, protein, carbs, and fats. And I promise you, just follow those macros. Give it a month. Let your body adapt. And remember Sandra, she dropped 50 pounds with us, but in the first month, she saw no weight loss. What happens is this, very often with women. First, they are eating the right amount of protein for the first time. So they're finally giving their body the right building blocks to build muscle. So what ends up happening is they're gaining this pound or half a pound of muscle, but they're also losing this half a pound to a pound of fat. And what happens after a month is you see 0 on the scale. And most ladies are like, I'm out, I tried, I'm a failure, my body doesn't work. But in reality, the photos tell you so much more. Your training capacity, you say, hey, I'm getting stronger in the gym. And all those factors is usually what derail women. And that's why we have this mantra at Sculpt by Science, right? Trust the process. So trust the process, really give it a go. And I say that because I know you guys are going to deal with that. So I'm going to make hitting your protein and carbs so simple for you. So screenshot if you need to, or write it down, right? So this is how you know how to hit 50 grams of protein in every meal. I call it 2, 6, 8, 10 equals 50. So 2 scoops of whey protein equals 50 grams of protein. 6 ounces of cooked chicken breast, 50 grams of protein. 8 ounces of cooked lean steak, sirloin, tenderloin, filet mignon. We want the leaner cuts, 50 grams of protein. And then the 10 ounces of white fish gives you 50 grams of protein. But I'm gonna give y'all some bonuses. I know your favorite protein source is some salmon, 7 ounces. 7 ounces of salmon gives you 50 grams, and Greek yogurt, 250 grams. So these are a bonus, right? Now for carbs, 50 grams of carbs equals 2 cups of cooked white rice. So if you just have 2 cups, then you know that's 50 grams. 6 ounces of sweet potato, 50 grams of carbs. 8 ounces of cooked pasta, 50 grams of carbs. 10 ounces of oats, 50 grams of carbs. And these are bonuses. 2 bananas is also equivalent to 50 grams of carbs, and 3 slices of bread. Now, all you need to do is mix and match these to hit your numbers. 3 meals a day, we want 1 meal for performance, 1 meal for sustainability, and 1 meal for enjoyment. So let me give you a performance meal. Breakfast, this is gonna fuel your training. It sets the tone for the day. You can have, for example, the oatmeal that we mentioned earlier, that 10 ounces with 2 scoops of protein powder, 50-50. That's a great meal to have. Meal number 2 for sustainability, right? We can have that 6 ounces of grilled chicken with the 2 cups of rice, 50 grams of protein there and 50 grams of carbs, and broccoli for some better digestion, or salmon that you can have, 7 ounces of that. You know what I like about salmon too? Is that you can prepare it in the air fryer and it's like really good. You know the settings. What are the settings?
180 degrees Celsius.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the cut, if it's a thinner cut, I personally cook it no more than 11 minutes. If it's a slightly thicker cut, maybe 13 minutes, just to avoid it being too dry. Salmon is one of those fishes that you can actually eat raw as well, if it is obviously good quality, right? If it's sashimi grade salmon.
Big component in the salmon is the EPA and DHA. These can calm inflammation in the body. It can bring down cortisol. So specifically amazing source for women. I know it's your favorite protein source. I enjoy it too. So definitely one of the ones you have to have in your diet, which is why I added it there as a bonus.
Now, here's where women face quite a unique challenge and actually a small advantage. During the luteal phase, the 2 weeks before your period, your body naturally burns about 100 to 200 extra calories a day, and appetite often increases, and ladies notice it. So instead of fighting it, work with it. Add an extra 100, 150 calories from protein, complex carbs, even a little dark chocolate. And that way you satisfy the cravings, support your body's higher burn, and most importantly, you stay consistent. And yes, dark chocolate can actually help here. It is rich in magnesium. It may also ease PMS symptoms and improve mood. So enjoying a small piece isn't just allowed. It can actually support your body during that phase. And food alone won't sculpt the hourglass figure, unfortunately, right? For that, you still need that next step, which is training, the tool that actually shapes your proportions.
So let's talk about the constant fear we hear from ladies all the time. I don't want to get bulky, I want to look toned. Was that something that you were fearful of in the beginning?
Personally, I've never been afraid of that because I've always been just on the smaller side. I think I would fall probably in the skinny fat category before I started training. But yes, it is a very common thing that women are afraid of.
So this is the reality of this. Even under the best conditions, women can only build about 0.5 to a pound of muscle per month as beginners. And after the first year, that can slow to 0.25 per month. So maybe that's a little bit hard to relate to. The best way I can explain it is that the main muscle building hormone is testosterone. And this is why most men have more muscle tissue than women, is because they have a higher amount. To be specific, women have about 1/10 of that hormone compared to men. So even if they train like Mr. Olympia, it's impossible to look that bulky. It's impossible to look bulky. And to put that into perspective, you could take 3 to 5 years of max effort training to build that kind of bulky look that people talk about. But in reality, it's the toned look that you want. That's what you're actually gonna get. So the answer is training hard, and it's training like a guy. You train pretty hard.
Yeah, I do train to failure, which is to the point where your muscles start shaking on the last few reps. And ladies, if you do see a woman that looks too bulky for your liking, she looks very jacked, it was probably done on purpose. That does not happen by accident. It takes a lot of hard work. In a lot of cases, also exogenous hormones, right? With women who professionally compete in bodybuilding. So don't be afraid that that somehow is going to happen to you.
Right.
So don't avoid muscle. You need it to build the hourglass proportions. And the formula is simple. You shrink your waist with nutrition, right? You enhance your shoulders and glutes with training. And then you keep quads and core strong to frame it all together. You don't need to live in the gym. You just need to train smart. So here's the split that works. Right? I trained 4 days a week and completely transformed in 90 days. I had 3 lower body days, 2 glute dominant and 1 quad focused, and then 1 upper body day. Shoulders and back are the priority. For most women though, 2 lower body and 2 upper body days is plenty. More isn't always better. Recovery is where the growth happens. So let's talk about the lower body. So 2 focus days per week is enough. Day 1, quads and glutes. Right? You do things like squats, lunges, Bulgarian split squats, hip thrusts. Day 2, full booty day. Hip thrusts, RDLs, glute bridges, abductions. And because we sit so much, glutes literally just switch off for a lot of people. So if you skip activation, your hamstring and lower back steal the work. So spend 5 to 10 minutes waking them up before lifting. Right? You can do things like band walks, 20 steps in each direction, clamshells, 15 reps each side, glute bridges, 20 reps with 2-second holds. So do 2 rounds before your first heavy set. You will feel the difference instantly. Add isolation, like cable kickbacks at the end as finishes, not the main course. And now let's talk about the upper body.
Before we go there, I'm very happy that you're here with me on the video. Guys, this is very difficult to get the Mrs. Diamonds on a video. I always ask her. So do me a favor, the video with a gentle thumbs up if you guys want more of these videos. And would you do more if they show some support?
Really help the ladies. Of course I'm gonna show up for the ladies.
Okay. So then let us know in the comments as well if you guys want more of these where it's me and Anna talking about the female components. Anna works with a lot of the women, brings a lot of the women into the company and explain like what process they go through. So, and she's been my co-pilot for a very, very long time. So let us know. But what about the upper body? How do you train that?
And because this is what really makes that waistline look smaller, right? So you need to focus on shoulders and do things like overhead press, lateral raises, Arnold press, and in the back, right? Here we do rows, pull-ups, lat pull-downs, face pulls, and rear delt flies, right? Strong back and shoulders mean a smaller looking waist, right? It's all about proportions. And sprinkle in some curls and tricep exercises for balance, but shoulders and back are the main thing.
Now, what about intensity? The biggest gap I see is the exercise intensity that women are using. So most women aren't simply pushing close enough to failure, and you need to be working at about 80 to 90% of your max effort. So that means that the last 2 to 3 reps of every set should feel like a grind. Why this works is that women naturally store more fat in the hips, thighs, and glutes. We call this a gynoid pattern and is driven by estrogen. It's protective, but it can be stubborn. So building shoulders and glutes creates this muscle structure that fat alone cannot. So to reiterate, this is the formula. We want to build shoulders and glutes. We want to train the quads strategically, and we want to keep the waistline tight, doing more than last time. You're either doing more weight, you're doing more reps, or you're doing both. And over time, you're going to build that illusion of the hourglass figure. And I will put a training program for all the ladies who've stuck thus far. I'm putting a training program right on the screen for you to take screenshots. All I ask, if you find this information useful, share it with another lady that you want to see win in 2026. But remember, training isn't the only half of the story. None of this works without step 4.
And step 4 is the cardio accelerator. And I'll say something you probably haven't heard before, but you don't have to do endless cardio sessions to get results. And here's why. Women's bodies are especially sensitive to stress. Stress can be physical, like hammering hours of high-intensity interval training or cardio, or emotional, the lack of sleep or work burnout. Your body doesn't separate them. It all shows up the same way through elevated cortisol. And when cortisol stays high, it doesn't just mess with energy and mood, it also makes fat loss, especially around the midsection, much harder. And that's why the smart approach isn't necessarily more cardio, it's just the right kind of cardio.
And there are 2 types of cardio we like to do with our clients. The first form of cardio can protect you while allowing you to lose fat. And this is the foundation. It is your daily steps. I always say, on a base level, look at your phone, maybe on the Samsung Health or Apple Health, how many steps you're getting, and just simply add 2,000 steps to that. So if you see your average for the month is 5K, then add 2,000 and go to 7K. If you see your average is 8K, add 2,000 and use that. But the big idea is aim for 10,000 steps a day to start, and then over time build up towards that 15,000. With my ladies, when we're coaching and we're working, when we get to 15,000, the fat starts melting off. And this isn't traditional exercise. The way I look at it is just movement. And the way you can do it like naturally without needing to take extra time out of your day, park further away. Take walking meetings, right? When you're with a standing desk with a walking pad under at your desk, this kind of low-level movement keeps your metabolism humming without taxing the body. And think of it like keeping a steady fire going with kindling rather than like dumping like gasoline on it. So that's informal cardio. Formal means more structured, and when it comes to working out, more isn't better, better is better. So many women will grind through like running or endless HIIT classes. They end up tired and stressed. This is a more smarter approach. It's low intensity, steady state cardio that trains your body to burn fat without overloading your stress hormones. So this is an example of how I would progress our clients at Sculpt by Science. Start with 2 sessions a week at 15 minutes. So per week, that comes out to a total of 30 minutes, right? We like writing 2 by 15. After 4 weeks, bump that up to 3 by 20, which is 3 sessions of 20 minutes. And then in the final phase, 4 sessions, 25 minutes each. That is no more than 100 hours per week. And great options of doing this is brisk walking, easy cycling, the elliptical, My personal favorite is the Stairmaster. What's yours?
Also like a Stairmaster.
Yeah. An actual bonus of doing the Stairmaster is that it's actually also working out your quads and your legs because it's literally a step up. If you want me to break down cardio even further, I did make a whole video on how much cardio you actually need to lose visceral fat, that dangerous fat around the organs. I'll put the link in the description so you can check it out. And I also want to say, if there are any ladies out there who've tried everything, you want a permanent solution, you want to work with me and my team of doctors, we have a link to apply to work with our team at Sculpt by Science. And we have Dr. Zeno, who's incredible. We have Dr. P, who's incredible. But yeah, if you're interested, if that's something that you do need help with and you want a permanent solution.
So too much cardio elevates cortisol, and high cortisol often means stubborn fat around the midsection. LISS avoids that problem, right? It's fat burning without frying your system. So here's the strategy, right? Prioritize steps first. Get consistent with 10,000 plus daily steps before you even think about formal cardio. Then add structured sessions gradually, right? So think of cardio as the polish on your physique, not the main sculptor. And the sculpting really comes from the weights and the diet. Cardio just reveals what you've built.
And with that, now we need to work on the foundation, and that is sleep and recovery. Now remember, you don't build muscle in the gym. You're literally destroying it. That contraction and breakdown is you breaking down that tissue. The building happens when you sleep. I think, and I like to explain it as, this is when you're adding on the cement. And that's why sleep is the single biggest recovery tool you have. And if you are not getting 7 to 9 hours a night, you're leaving results on the table. You're leaving money on the table. So when you sleep, your body releases growth hormone. It repairs the muscle fibers. It balances your hormones that control fat loss and the cravings. And if you're cutting your sleep, you are cutting into your own progress. And there's even research showing that there are two groups of people. They followed the same diet and they lost the exact amount of weight, right? They both lost the exact amount of weight, but the group that slept less, that weight came from muscle, most of it. While the group that slept more, that weight came from fat. And that just goes to show you how powerful sleep is. So here's a simple routine that we give to our clients. It's called 10-3-2-1. And the reason why this is important is we're creatures of habit. And we need to create this habit so that we can start getting real quality sleep. So 10 hours before bed, no caffeine. If you must, maybe herbal tea. Or you can go decaf. But I just cut out caffeine 10 hours before bed. 3 hours before bed, your last meal done. We need to give our body time to digest. 2 hours before bed, no more water so we can avoid the bathroom trips. 1 hour before bed, phone goes on the charge in another bedroom, and we put on our blue light blocking glasses, and this will skyrocket your sleep.
As a bonus, it will also help your personal relationship with your partner.
Amen.
If you put your phone away an hour before going to bed, because you will be more focused on each other.
Facts.
Now let's talk about recovery beyond sleep, because recovery isn't just about sleeping more, right? It's also about managing stress. And let's be real, telling women to just don't stress it is useless. Life doesn't work like that, right? So what you can do though is minimize how stress impacts your body. So for example, active recovery, walking, stretching, mobility, not a workout, just movement that restores and feels good. Things like journaling. 5 minutes of brain dump before bed clears your head so you can actually fall asleep faster. There are also apps that can help. For example, Calm or Headspace for guided meditation, Sleep Cycle if you want to track your sleep quality. And there are also personal stress buffers. And these are unique to you. For us, for example, it's spending time with our dogs, right? There's even research proving that that helps. And for you, maybe reading the Bible, listening to music, or simply being outdoors. And these aren't luxuries. They are strategies. They literally keep cortisol down and progress moving. And now let's talk about also the cycle factor, because it does play a big role. Here's something that most women overlook. Your recovery needs actually shift with your cycle. During the luteal phase, right, the 2 weeks before your period, your recovery demands are higher. And this is when an extra hour of sleep, right, a bit more food or slightly lighter sessions in the gym can actually help your progress to be faster in the long run. So instead of fighting your body, work with it. Which brings us to the final piece of this plan, blueprint number 6. tracking and adaptation. Because without feedback, you will never know if what you're doing is actually working.
So this is what I want you guys to track. What cannot be measured cannot be managed. So I want you to measure with a tape measurement your waist. So literally take the tape measurement around the belly button line, your hips, and your shoulders. Let's do this every 2 weeks. Why we do this is that you'll typically not see any weight change in the first month, but you may say, okay, my waist has shrunk and my shoulders have gone a bit wide and my glutes are a bit bigger. That's a good sign of body recomposition. And these numbers will tell you if your proportions are changing, which is the real goal, right? Progress photos, front, side, and back, same location, same time, same lighting, once a week. And the camera picks up changes that the scale can't. And then we also want to track strength benchmarks. If your lifts are going up, it means your body's adapting. A stronger hip thrust means your glutes are growing. A stronger overhead press means your shoulders are growing and shaping. What about the scale? Use it, but don't stress. It's just a tool. I tell our clients all the time, it's like a prehistoric tool, but it can tell us, it's more like a compass. Are we going north in weight? Are we going up? Or are we going south, right? And your weight can swing 3 to 5 pounds across your cycle, but just from water retention, that's so normal. What matters in the long term, it's the trend. And using your photos in combination with your measurements make things so much easier. And progress does stall. When you have 2 weeks of nothing happening, that's part of the process. When it happens, keep it moving, like control what you can control. But if it does like stall, let's say for like 3 to 4 weeks, adjust your calories slightly. And I'm saying, 100 to 150 calories, 200 max if you want to be aggressive. And then add a little cardio to tighten the nutrition. And if your muscle gain stalls, make sure you're hitting your protein, maybe increase your training volume, or maybe add a recovery day. We want to make small changes, not big overhauls. And that's why you keep moving forward without burning out.
Right. So if you want to build that hourglass shape by the end of 2025, it really comes down to 6 things. And 15 weeks is plenty of time to completely reshape your body if you follow the process and stay consistent. And remember, this isn't just about how you look, it is about how you feel. Stronger, more confident, more in control of your body than ever before.
For the ladies who are in their 40s in that perimenopausal area, I'm going to leave a video right here for you that will address more of the issues you may be facing and how to tackle those. And let us know in the comments, guys, if you guys want us to do more of these, and by leaving the video the gentle thumbs up. Hello, thank you for taking time and
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
rocking out with us. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.